welcome back to my channel. The name is Cheryl Nkosi if you're new. If you're not new, welcome back. It's nice to have you back. Today I'm going to be speaking about my experiences with my academics and pretty much how to slay your academic game. Okay, that was lit in my head. Then when it came out, let's get into the video. Okay, so pretty much when I first got to university, I'm actually wearing my university jumper. When I first got to university, I was kind of just going with the flow. As long as I got a 50, I was good. But one thing I can tell you is there's nothing that is as satisfying as getting those grades. When you get those grades, there's nothing else in the world that you want to experience other than that joy, to feel so consumed with pride that, okay, I did this, I'm proud of myself. Nothing else comes close to that. So for me, I guess, you know, I had to kind of put in a bit of extra work, primarily because I have, you know, serious anxiety. And if you're to ask me where it comes from, I don't quite know where the anxiety comes from. But due to the anxiety, I would have moments, or should I say, like episodes, like long episodes where I didn't go to class. I didn't feel like doing the work, so I procrastinate until like the week of the assignment. And then I do the assignment in like 2 or 3 days. Sometimes, I don't think I've ever done an assignment in 1 day. Have I? Okay, I did, but that was because I didn't even know the assignment existed. But yeah, I feel like when you go to university, you need to prioritize. So for all my prospective university students, my current university undergraduate students, this video is for you. So how to slay your academics. The first thing is, I was a social science student and I was doing a double/triple major program. I studied international studies, criminology and criminal justice for my undergraduate studies, and then for my postgraduate studies I did international studies and globalized human rights. So from the get-go, if you're a social sciences student, that means you have to read. I was that kind of person to be like, yeah, I can skim read. Well, you can skim read and pass. I'm not gonna lie, you can pass, but you're not gonna pass like really well. You're not gonna have those grades, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I felt like by, you know, doing the readings that are on Moodle, which is like the online portal that we used, as well as doing my own reading, like reading other journals that weren't even recommended, but just doing my own extra research really helped. Third thing that I found was very helpful was being attentive in class. I am an audiovisual learner, so for other people reading alone works. For me, I get very distracted. So I never went to the library, but we'll get into that in a bit. So I'm an audiovisual learner, which means when I went to class, I could sit there and not even take notes, but I'd be able to absorb the information and then make notes later in my own time after I've digested. Or I could sit in class and make like 5-word phrases, and I'd remember that, okay, this phrase is related to this concept, and this concept goes under this topic, and this topic is something that we're not going to cover, you know, in great detail, but it's part of the syllabus and I need to understand. Then, you know, for subjects like criminology and criminal justice, you just simply can't skim read. You can't, because it's highly detailed and it's almost related to, I guess, law, obviously the justice part, and the criminology, the study of crime. It's pretty much a very detailed area of study. So criminology and criminal justice are areas of study that people highly underestimate. But girl, bro, sis, you can't underestimate something. If you choose a subject because you think it's going to be easy for university, let me be the one to tell you that no matter what you're studying in university, whether it is a BA, a Bachelor of Social Science, a general BA, English major, whatever your major may be, trust me, there's no such thing as it's so easy, I don't have to put in the effort. Because if you want to be successful, if you want to feel the happiness that the higher distinction students are feeling, you have to put in the work. Now, for me, what I did a couple of things. So I took like very, 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 very small notes. Small? English. But I didn't write detailed notes, let me say, in class. I didn't write detailed notes in class, and I still managed to grasp the concepts because I listened in class, and I was a very talkative student. I was a very active student in class. I was always participating in discussions. I wanted to be the student who would rather be told, no, you don't quite have it. This is what we mean, or this is what I mean as your teacher, or as your lecturer, or as your professor. And then I'd move on. You know what I'm saying? I feel like with school, you're better off asking questions. I have a certain quote that I live by, which is, the answer to the question that was never asked will always be no. So if you don't ask the question, the answer will always be no. You have to ask the question to understand the concept. If you feel like the textbook hasn't really gotten into detail, or it hasn't covered it in a way that is satisfactory for you. Now, that was the first thing. The second thing for me was, I didn't go to the library. I get so easily distracted. Like, generally in life, I'm that student who just gets easily distracted. I want to talk when I'm around people, and it's not because I'm chatty per se. I'm only chatty around people that I'm comfortable with. I'm not gonna just talk to random people. But in the library, because I was the school's ambassador for a full year, people would come up to me and be like, oh, hey, how you doing? You're Cheryl, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm Cheryl. What's up? And then we get, into conversation. So I decided to make the decision to just stop going to the library if I wanted to work seriously. At some point, I lived on student res, in a student accommodation, and it's loud. Guys, it's loud there. But somehow I managed to make my desk, because it comes with a desk, my sanctuary, my study area. When I got to my desk, it was work mode, and I would not get up unless it was to drink water or to stretch, and I'd get my work done in my room. And I promise you, from the time that I started doing that and started actually making an effort to do my work ahead of time, reading extra notes, reading my notes from class and applying the concepts to my notes, I went from being a credit student, which is 60 to 69%, to a higher distinction student, which is 80% and above. Those things are it's small changes, hey? You just need to tweak a few things if you want to become a higher distinction student. And I'm not going to say that my method is going to work for everybody, because we all learn differently and we all understand concepts differently. But yeah, if you want to do well, you have to put in the work. The third thing that I did, I think this is the third thing. The third thing that I did was I became selfish with my time. I was the student who was available all the time, anytime, everywhere, any day, to do whatever, wherever, however. That was in my first year. In my second year, you would not find me anywhere. even in my postgraduate it was even worse because I was doing a study off campus. But from my second year onwards, I was a student you wouldn't find anywhere because I was so focused on school. I was trying to get those good grades, and I didn't, you know, really care to maintain certain friendships or certain relationships if people didn't understand that I needed to work. So in as much as, you know, I was, hey, MSA, we are the MSA Dragons or the Lions, that only applied when I wasn't working, guys. And when you are studying more than one major, the work is insane. Okay, the work is insane because at the end of your degree, you're going to get 2 degrees, actually 4, considering I learned at Monash, and Monash gives you the South African certificate as well as the Australian certificate. Now if you did a double major, that's 2 degrees on each certificate. So yeah, I mean, I had to become really selfish with my time, and it helped me a great deal because I was doing a social science major, and at some point I was doing communication, which was under social sciences but was also typically taken by business science students. So I think you could count how many social science students were there. The business science students came with their own theories, their own concepts, and you had to be there listening to these people with their own jargon. And it was kind of difficult to sort of pick up what they're trying to say. But at the end of my second year, I had my highest subject was actually communication, PR and communications, corporate communications to be specific. And I was so surprised because I was thinking to myself, I'm gonna put in all the work in my majors, but I ended up, you know, working so hard to pass my minor, which was the communication, and I ended up doing better in my minor than my majors. And it happens, guys, sometimes it happens. But at the end of it, my transcript looked pretty nice. It looked pretty nice considering I was the student who was just a blasé about everything academic because I wanted to have the full university experience, you know, get lit, turn up. But at the end of my second year, I had established a routine that worked for me. And in my final year, I remember I started trying to balance things out a little bit more because I felt like I had neglected my social life to the point where I had just become an academic little mouse, you know, and I didn't have a life outside of my academics. But I started applying, you know, some, I guess, good practices in my life where I would say, okay, between this time and this time, I actually created a timetable, and I forgot which app I used, and I don't have it on my phone anymore. But if I do remember the app, I'll add the name of the app. So I remember I had a timetable, and I'd be like, between this time and this time, I can talk to friends, I can even go off campus, I can hang out with friends, I can go to the mall, and I can record my videos for YouTube because in my second year I was pretty active on YouTube. And yeah, I can live my best life. And then between this time and this time, I'm strictly dedicating my time to schoolwork. And then after schoolwork, I would try and do something to unwind. And then after unwinding, then I'd get to bed and I'd sleep better. And I slept better than I probably have slept in a very long time. And then when I got to postgrad, that all went out the window. With postgrad, the deadlines were insane. And I remember, I think we had a 30 or 35,000 word limit for the final thesis, that is. But for the proposal, I think it was 10,000. And I remember zooming through my proposal, and I did so well. I had a higher distinction with my proposal, and I thought, okay, if I've done this with my proposal, then great, I'm gonna do amazing. I'm gonna be, you know, up there. With my defense was flawless. Everybody who had questions for me in my defense was like, wow, this is a great topic. And then came the actual paper, and that was hard because I was working and I was also doing my postgrad. So I was working between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. and I had class from 6 to 8 p.m. and I worked like an hour and a half away from school, and then school was about maybe like 5 minutes away from my house. But it was absolutely difficult to manage my affairs because at work I had to be dedicated to my work, and then I'd sometimes catch myself trying to find something to add to my proposal at the time or my actual final paper, and then it became hectic and I didn't really manage my time very well with my postgraduate studies. But for my undergraduate studies, I would advise that you take those 3 steps. Figure out what kind of learner you are, become selfish with your time, and eventually manage your time so that you have an active social life, but you have a very good academic life at the same time. So I really hope this video helps somebody, and I hope that you can apply what I did to your studies. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.